I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
Today we're going to be talking about you've been sabotaged.
Yes, you may well have been sabotaged.
Yeah, you're thinking, wait, what? What does this have to do with breakups? Well, you're going to find out.
You're going to find out.
That there probably was more than one person meddling in your relationship that caused your breakup.
Oftentimes.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to talk for just a minute about family systems theory.
Now, Margaret, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? We're talking about sabotage.
You're going to see.
All right, Margaret.
You're going to talk about how families work and therefore how you can mess up their workings. Okay?
This is really important stuff.
Yes,
Pay
it
attention.
Is. Family therapy was begun in like the 1970s by a particularly brilliant psychiatrist named Murray Bowen, B-O-W-E-N. And it was extremely popular. Family therapy was extremely popular in the 1970s and 1980s until we found out that it can solidify the denial of sexual abuse in the family and that it can not work for some of the members of the family. So it was very popular for a while. And then it disappeared, and now it's having a comeback, and I'm very glad because I think it's very important for some people being helped to be aware of this stuff.
Okay.
All right? According to Dr. Bowen, family systems normally and naturally developed along with evolution. Back in the old days, when our friends the saber-toothed tigers and the woolly mammoths were still around, families or clans, and that would be a group of families. Families or clans had to develop very tight relationships in order to do all the tasks that were necessary to survive and fight off the guys on the other side of the hill. All right? Somebody had to hunt. Somebody had to take care of the animal once it was brought home. Okay? Somebody had to cook it. Somebody had to do the dishes if we had any then. I don't know when they came in. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
Okay? So there had to be very specific tasks divided up in order to survive. Okay?
Okay.
To this day, families are a system of moving parts, all of whom have a role in the system, whether it's for concrete tasks or emotional interactions. Okay? If a person leaves the system, it is a real problem. And the entire system has to shift itself around.
Well, what does that mean, Margaret?
I'm going to tell you in 1 minute with a little analogy.
Okay.
Okay. Think about a baseball team. Okay? It could be the Yankees or the Red Sox. If 3 people test positive for COVID and somebody...
It'd be a miracle with the Yankees.
Right.
If it was only 3, it was more like 23 this year.
I know. I was taking a shot at the Yankees, but I didn't know if you'd notice. If 3 people test positive for COVID and somebody's injured at the same time, it creates all kinds of problems for the team.
Yeah.
The shortstop may have to play second base. The guy who's been on the bench may have to play second base. And Lord knows we've never known who's on first. Okay? So you see, if some members are not present or have to change jobs around, when one event happens, it affects the whole system.
Sure.
And in the early systems thinking, people thought about an amoeba. If you poke an amoeba, the rest of the system kind of shudders and turns itself around, and
Yeah.
so that anything that happens in a family affects everybody in the family, if it's a system.
Yep.
All right? As you can see, it is in the system's best interest to have everyone in place. All right?
Because they've got their roles.
That's right.
And I'm not talking about dinner rolls.
No, although you might be.
It sounds nice.
And to have things running reasonably smoothly. So remember, as long as nobody leaves, nobody moves, nobody changes, the system's going to run fairly smoothly.
Yeah.
All right. So families, like baseball teams, or whatever system you're talking about, prefer the status quo, okay, or the condition of homeostasis. You know what homeostasis is? It means that nothing dramatic is happening. The system is just functioning in its own way.
The way it's always been.
Right, yeah. So, bottom line is, we human beings hate change of any kind. It frightens us, okay? And we tend to resist it any way we can.
And you coming into that person's life
That's
means a change to the system.
Right.
And that means even if they all liked you,
Right.
you still messed up their system.
That's exactly right. And that's what I'm trying to get across. And it's very hard to explain because people say, well, but they like me. What could be wrong with that?
It's not personal.
No, it's not.
That the system,
Right.
the dynamic is messed up.
Exactly.
You know, it's like maybe when you were in school as a kid and the teacher was missing.
Yeah,
The whole day is messed up.
The whole day is messed
or
up.
Or one of the kids in the class is there that feels different, right?
Or if the teacher is out sick and there's a substitute, oh, that's a disaster, right?
In the case with baseball, like let's say your closer is injured.
Yep.
Well, then now that affects the rest of the guys in the bullpen, and somebody's going to have to pitch more days, and their arm's going to get tired, and the other guy's arms are going to get more tired.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. It affects the whole system. When you want to marry somebody, that's huge impact.
Yep.
All right? In short, nobody likes change very much. Even a good change disrupts the equilibrium of the system and will be in some way resisted. Okay, so if someone grows a little bit healthier, a little bit more autonomous, spend a little more time out of the house doing their own activities and so forth, then the person they used to hang with when they were still home might be in a really bad mood about that and is going to crab at somebody else in the system, and so even a good change can produce a problem.
Yep.
So if you come from a family system, and we all do, even when you grow toward being able to perform better in your life, there's always the possibility that will mean you leave.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
And that is a terrible problem. And I had a client give me the following metaphor, which I thought was brilliant. Because what you say to people is, you've made some really growth steps since you've been in therapy. And oftentimes they'll tell you that the family is already saying, I don't know what you're going to that therapy for. And what's that therapist telling you? You're different now. And you hear all of that stuff. Okay? So the family is resisting the positive change. And my client said, it's like crabs in a bucket. If you catch some crabs, they'll climb up to the top of the bucket. But if one gets close to the top, the rest of them pull them right back down again.
Yep.
Okay? It was a better metaphor than I had ever heard, so I thanked her for that. Okay. So even good change, any change in equilibrium, will be resisted. And there is a famous book written for business, and remember, I'm always excited when stuff is written for business, because it speaks to how valid the theory is. If the people with the money think it's useful, it's got to be useful. All right? The book is entitled, Who Moved My Cheese? Okay? And it has become a real classic in the business world for at least 20 years. All right? And it's written in the form of a parable with 4 characters in a maze. There are 2 mice named Sniff and Scurry, and there are 2 little humans named Hem and Haw. All right? They have to find new ways to think about and work about the dilemma of having the cheese be moved. And eventually they have to, acknowledge the dilemma, define the dilemma, and find out how they're going to work together to solve this problem. And at least in the fable, they do learn to work together to solve this problem, which is why I think they should all be elected to Congress immediately. Okay? Now, this was written by a doctor named Spencer Johnson in the 1990s, but it's very famous, and I love the concept. Who moved my cheese? All right. Any change in the system is going to produce resistance. Remember when I took the social work test in the state of Massachusetts? I think it was the second time it had ever been given. And I remember being stumped on the question. The question was, why do many marriages stick together? And none of the answers made any sense to me until I thought about it for about a half hour. And the principle was homeostasis. All right? So many people will stay in a marriage where they're not wildly happy because we're so scared of and so resistant to change.
Wow.
Right?
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance that there were people, even if they liked you and your ex's family, that may have been causing a breakup.
Absolutely.
That they were
Absolutely.
unconsciously putting things in your ex's ear, saying things that might have encouraged them to end the relationship.
But you always said you wanted to marry a doctor, and now you're in love with a plumber. You know, I don't know what you're thinking. I just had a case where the problem was when the guy first met the girl. He said he was thinking of moving to the nearest big city where he might have more job opportunities.
I know this case.
Yeah. Months later, the girl's mother was reminding her that he might move to wherever it was. Okay? And nobody would have connected that. But her family was going to sabotage her because they didn't want her moving away anywhere.
Well, and there was more to it, that the mother and the daughter were best friends.
Yes, and that's another thing, and I'm going to get to that one in my next presentation.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes. Great minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
You have to think about it. You can't just ignore it. You can save yourself years of heartache, all right? If you understand that. We like you, but if you make a change in our system,
we don't like you that much.
We're going to have to deal with you. Yes, and make you go away.
All right. Good stuff, Margaret.
All right.
Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments. And, of course, if you want to get our help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. And, of course, Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful to disturb your homeostasis, please sign up.
Just click on Margaret to do that. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.